So today I'm talking about all of the books that I'm looking forward to reading in 2020. So stick around to see what they are. Hey everybody, Roger here. Welcome to my channel, Roger's Reads. So this is the time of year where a lot of people are talking about their anticipated reads for the coming year. And I've come across quite a few books that are being released in 2020 that I'm really looking forward to reading. And I actually had to chisel my list down to only 30 books. Yeah, I know, right? So, but yeah, there are a lot of great books being released. So let's get cracking. So the first book that I'm looking forward to is Darius the Great Deserves Better by Adib Khorram. So this is the sequel to Darius the Great Is Not Okay, a book that I absolutely loved and talked about on this channel previously. So I had no idea that there was going to be a sequel. And supposedly this takes place after the events in the first book, where Darius now has a boyfriend, plays soccer, and has an internship. But at some point, he begins to question everything. So that's really all I know about this. And it's supposed to be released on August 25th. The next book is entitled We Are Totally Normal by Rahul Kanakia. So this is a queer contemporary young adult story that follows our main character, Nandan, whose perfectly laid out plans for junior year goes awry after he hooks up with a guy for the first time named Dave. But the thing of it is that Nandan's never been into guys. So now he needs to figure out who he is and whether he's ready to take the big step to pursue a relationship with Dave. And this book releases on March 31st. Next up is Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. So this one sounds like a lot of fun. And this follows a trans boy named Yadriel, who is determined to prove he's a brujo, a witch, to his Latinx family. So he tries to summon the ghost of his murdered cousin. However, the ghost that he ends up summoning is not his cousin at all, but a boy named Julian Diaz, the resident bad boy in high school who died. And Julian is now determined to find out what happened to him. And he refuses to leave unless Yadriel agrees to help him. So yeah, sounds like a lot of fun. And this one releases on June 9th. The next book is The Fascinators by Andrew Eliopoulos. So this is a magic-infused young adult novel about friendship, first love, and feeling out of place that follows our main character, Sam, who lives in a small town where magic is frowned upon. So Sam has his friends, James and Delia, and their time together in the school's magic club to help him get through school through graduation. But as senior year starts, little cracks in their group begin to show. Sam may or may not be in love with James. Delia is growing frustrated with the amateur magic club, and James reveals that he has somehow gotten mixed up with some sketchy magicians over the summer, and in so doing, ended up putting a target on all of their backs. So yeah, this sounds like it's right up my alley, and this releases on May 12th. So the next book that I want to read is entitled Date Me Bryson Keller by Kevin Van Wy. So this is an upbeat boy meets boy romance that follows Bryson Keller, who must date someone new every week, the first person to ask him out on Monday morning. So I'm not sure the reasoning behind this. I don't know, did he lose a bet or something? But yeah, so new person every week until a boy asks him out and everything changes. So I don't know too much about this queer rom-com, but it sounds like a lot of fun. And this one releases on May 19th, 2020. Next up is The Extraordinaries by T.J. Klune. So I've read quite a few books by T.J. Klune and I've really enjoyed them. And I was excited to hear that he had another book coming out this year. So this is a queer coming-of-age story about a fanboy with ADHD named Nick Bell, who sets out to make himself extraordinary with the help of the city's mightiest hero and his biggest crush. So sounds like fun, and this one releases on May 5th. Next up is 8 Perfect Murders by Peter Swanson. So this is a thriller that follows a bookseller named Mal who finds himself at the center of an FBI investigation because a very clever killer has started using his list of fiction's most ingenious murders. And this killer seems to know way too much about Belle's personal history, including secrets that he's never told anybody. So to protect himself, Mal begins looking into possible suspects, but he doesn't count on the investigation leaving a trail of death in its wake. So yeah, sounds like a great thriller, and this one releases on March 3rd. Next up is Yes, No, Maybe So by Becky Albertelli and Aisha Saeed. I'm a big fan of Becky Albertelli. I loved Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda especially, but have not yet read anything by Aisha Saeed, so they are a new author for me. But this is a young adult contemporary that follows incredibly shy Jamie Goldberg, who is volunteering for his local state Senate candidate until he meets Maya. So Maya is having a difficult time in her life at the moment, so her mother thinks the solution to her problems lies in political canvassing with some awkward dude that she's never met. So I imagine at some point sparks begin to ignite between the two of them, and that's really all I know about this, but early reviews have been positive, so I'm willing to give it a shot. Next up is Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. So I really loved The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo, as well as With the Fire and High. So this story follows 2 girls whose father dies. One girl lives in the Dominican Republic, the other in New York. And then they learn about each other. I don't know if they knew about each other's existence or not. And that's pretty much all I know about this one. And this releases on May 5th. But yeah, new book by Elizabeth Acevedo. I'm there. Next up is Mother, Daughter, Widow, Wife by Robin Wasserman. So this is a psychological thriller centered around a woman with no memory, the science invested in studying her, and the daughter who longs to understand. And the woman is named Wendy Doe, nicknamed Wendy Doe. So we see here an attempt to untangle the mystery of the woman's identity while Wendy is struggling to construct a new self. So, you know, I always enjoy books where there's a memory loss, amnesia, and the likes. So this one caught my attention. And this releases on June 23rd, my birthday. Next book is The June Boys by Court Stevens. So in this book, there's a serial kidnapper called the Gemini Thief who takes 3 boys every year and holds them captive from June 1st to June 30th of the following year. So the June Boys endure 13 months of being stolen, hidden, observed, and fed before they are released unharmed by their masked captor. For nearly a decade, the Gemini Thief has managed to elude authorities and has taken at least 12 boys. But this year, the game changes when one of the kidnapped boys ends up dead. So, sounds intriguing. Releases on March 3rd, 2020. Next book is Of Curses and Kisses by Sadaya Menon. So I don't know too much about this book, except that it follows a princess named Jaya who's involved in a family feud with the clan known as the Emerson clan, who have targeted Jaya's little sister. So Jaya swears revenge on the clan. So when Gray Emerson enrolls in the same school as her, she concocts a plan to make him fall in love with her and then break his heart. But she also doesn't know that Gray is a victim of an age-old curse. And so sounds really intriguing. This one releases on February 18th. Number 13, When We Were Magic. This was written by Sarah Gailey. So this is about 4 teens whose magic goes wildly awry and a boy ends up dead. So Alexis and her friends, they come together to try to right this wrong, this terrible wrong, with horrible consequences. And that's pretty much all I know about it. But I love books about magic, about witches and magic. So this one piqued my interest. Next up is Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. She's also the author of Radio Silence, which I loved. Now, this is a gay-themed graphic novel that follows 2 boys Charlie and Nick who fall in love. And I actually have the first volume somewhere on my shelf here. Here we go. This is volume 1, Heartstopper, but volume 2 and 3 are out this year. And I have to say, I hate to say it, but I haven't read volume 1 yet, so I need to get to that and then pick up volume 2 and 3. Now, I don't believe they're available in the US yet, but they are available on the Book Depository. So you can get it there. And as always, there's free worldwide shipping. The next book is The Heart Principle by Helen Wong. So I read the first 2 books by Helen Wong and absolutely loved them. And she writes contemporary romances. The names of the first 2 books were The Kiss Quotient and The Bride Test. And I don't know anything about this novel at all. And actually, the blurb I saw was really, really vague, just saying it was a romantic comedy. But I love her writing, and pretty much anything she puts out I will read, so I'm looking forward to it. And that releases on May 4th, so yeah. Next up is The Nobleman's Guide to Scandal and Shipwrecks by Mackenzie Lee. So this is the 3rd book in the Montague siblings series, and this one follows a teenage Adrian Montague as he desperately seeks the now adult Monty and Felicity, the older siblings he never knew he had. And I'm sure if the other 2 books are any indication that this will be another rollicking adventure. And this one releases on August 18th. All right, and what do we have next? We have A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor by Hank Green. So this is a sequel to Hank Green's debut novel, I think it was his debut, entitled An Absolutely Remarkable Thing. And this book picks up where the first book left off. And I really, really loved the first book, which was about these statues that showed up all of a sudden, overnight, all over the world. But I'm not going to spoil anything about it, so you have to read the first book before delving into the second. And this one releases on July 7th, so I'm looking forward to it. And if you're not familiar with Hank Green, he is John Green's brother. So Hank Green and John Green, they have this weekly vlog series called The Vlog Brothers, and it's been around for many, many years, and they're a lot of fun to watch. And I'm sure that many of you are familiar with John Green, the author, as well. He's written quite a few young adult books. So the next up is The State of Us by Sean David Hutchinson. So, I was really happy to hear that a new Sean David Hutchinson novel was coming out, as I've read all of his work and really enjoy it. So this follows Dean Arnault, whose mother has decided to run for president. So then he meets Dre Rosario. Now the only problem is Dre is the son of the opposition. But as Dre and Dean's meetups on the campaign trail become less left to chance, a romantic spark begins to develop between the 2 of them. I also believe that there's some political scheming by a shady third-party candidate that causes them all kinds of problems as well. So this one releases on June 2nd. So next up is Chosen by Kirsten White. So this is a sequel to Slayer, a novel which takes place in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer world, the Buffyverse, and follows Nina, our watcher turned Slayer, who continues to learn how to use her Slayer powers against her enemies. And of course, there's a new darkness in town. And this book is actually out now. It was just released, and I actually just picked it up from the library, so I should be talking about it on this channel shortly. All right, we are at number 20, and this is Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. So, now Riley Sager is the author of Lock Every Door, a thriller that I absolutely loved and raved about on this channel. So this is a new thriller about a woman named Maggie Holt who returns to the house made famous by her father's best-selling memoir. The question is a place really haunted by the evil forces that her father claimed. So yeah, I love me a good ghost story, so I'm looking forward to this one, which releases on July 7th. All right, so next up is a book I'm really looking forward to, and it's called In 5 Years by Rebecca Searle. So this follows a woman named Danny Cohen, right? Danny Cohen, yes, who wakes up and discovers that she's 5 years in the future. She's in a different apartment with a different ring on her finger and beside a very different man. It is not her fiancé. After a very intense and shocking hour, she wakes up again at the brink of midnight back in 2020. So it was a dream, it was a vision, it was what? But somehow she just can't shake what happened. Then, 4.5 years later, Danny meets the very same man from her long ago vision/dream. So yeah, this one sounds really good to me, and I can't wait till it comes out. And I don't have the release date for this book. Hopefully I won't have to wait too long. All right, the next book is The Two Lives of Lydia, Byrd by Josie Silver. And this is another book that I'm really looking forward to. And this follows Freddie and Lydia, who have been together for more than a decade, and Lydia thought that their love was indestructible. But on Lydia's 28th birthday, Freddie dies in a car accident. But then something inexplicable happens that gives her another chance at her old life with Freddie, a life where none of the tragic events of the past few months have happened. So from what I can make from the blurb, it sounds like that she's able to live her two lives at once, and she can choose which life to stay in, something like that. I don't know. But that's really all I know about it, but color me super intrigued. And it sounds like it's right up my alley. I love stories like this, when messing with the time-space continuum. So this one releases on March 3rd. So the next book on my list is The Upside of Flawed by Alex Light. So this follows Becca Hart, who, when her best friend teases her about not having a boyfriend, impulsively states that she's been secretly seeing someone. So when Brett Wells, the captain of the football team and one of the most popular guys at his school, overhears Becca's lie, he decides to step in and agrees to be her mystery guy. But acting like the perfect couple doesn't come easy, especially when you barely know the other person. And I imagine that the line between what is pretend and what is real will begin to blend at some point, as we often see in this trope. So those of you who follow me know that I love the fake dating trope, so I'm really excited about this one. And it releases on February 18th. So the next book is entitled Death in Her Hands by Otessa Mosfeg. So this follows a woman who, while on a normal daily walk in the woods with her dog, comes across a handwritten note carefully pinned to the ground with a frame of stones that reads, "Her name was Magda. Nobody will ever know who killed her. It wasn't me. Here is her dead body." And she then investigates. So that's all I know about this. It sounds intriguing. But I know this author, it was also the author of a book entitled My Year of Rest and Relaxation, which was really well received. It's also a book about TBR that I want to get to. And this is about a woman who decides to medicate herself for an entire year and stay in bed because she's overcome by grief. And it's supposed to be a really good book, so I want to read that one as well as this one. So that was called Death in Her Hands. That releases on April 21st. So next up is Again by E. Lockhart. So this book asks the question, if you could live your life again, what would you do differently? So after a near-fatal family catastrophe, our main character finds herself in a summer during which she will fall in and out of love 1,000 times. And that's all I know about it. So yeah, sounds intriguing. This one releases June 2nd. So the next book is My Calamity Jane, and this is written by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. And this is another book in the Jane series, with the first book entitled My Plain Jane. So this book takes place in 1876 in America, a place bursting with outlaws, gunslingers, and the Garou, which is better known as a werewolf. So Calamity Jane, supposedly in this world, is a werewolf hunter who is pursuing a rumored wolf and then ends up getting bitten in the process. So then she heads to Deadwood in search of a cure. So this one sounds like a lot of fun. And I actually spent some time in Deadwood a couple of summers ago. I took a motorcycle trip out to South Dakota and learned all about Calamity Jane and the rest of the colorful characters during that era. So I'm looking forward to this book. It should be a lot of fun. This releases on June 2nd. Number 27 is Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall. So this is also a gay romance and another fake dating story that follows Luke, the son of rock star parents, and Oliver, a barrister who desperately needs a date for a big event. So they strike a deal to be fake boyfriends until the dust in their lives has settled. And then they plan on going their own separate ways and pretending it never happened. And we all know how that usually turns out. So yeah, another fake dating trope book I'm looking forward to. Releases on July 7th. So the next book is entitled Conventionally Yours by Annabeth Albert. So this is a mortal enemies to lovers story that follows two characters, Conrad and Alden, who are stuck together on a cross-country road trip to the biggest fan convention of their lives. But an unexpected connection is forged between the two enemies, but it's not easy going for them because each has a very strong reason why they have to win the upcoming Odyssey Gaming Tournament, even if it means giving up their one chance at romance with the other. So, sounds good. And releases on June 2nd. I realize I'm saying, sounds good to every book. Of course this sounds good, otherwise they wouldn't be on my list. Go figure. So, next up, number 29. We're almost there. The Gravity of Us by Phil Stamper. So I've actually already pre-ordered this one. And this follows two teens, Kel and Leon, who find love when their lives are uprooted by their parents' involvement in a NASA mission to Mars. So as the relationship grows, so does the frenzy surrounding the Mars mission, and then secrets are revealed about ulterior motives of the program. So sounds intriguing. This one releases on February 4th. And the last book is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. Yes, we're getting a new book in the Hunger Games series. It's a Hunger Games series, and this takes place, I believe, like 64 years or 62 years before the events in the Katniss Everdeen books. So this is like the 10th Hunger Games. And I think the ones in the recent books were like the 74th, 72nd, something like that. So we're many decades ahead. So now that's really all I know about that book. So it sounds good. So those are some of the books that I'm looking forward to reading in 2020. How about you? What are you looking forward to reading? Let me know in the comments. Not that I need to add any more books to my TBR. But yeah, I definitely would be interested in hearing about books that maybe haven't crossed my radar. And did you like this video? If so, please click the like button below, as it really helps my channel out. But that about does it. I hope you found this video useful. And as always, I thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all of your support. And I will talk to you all in the next video. Roger and out.